Welcome to ASEAN Biz, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host Andrew Chia, and together with me is
Eric Chong,
and we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world, particularly that which involves ASEAN countries.
In these brand new editions, we bring you 4 segments: the current business update, our durian main story, funny business moments, and health is wealth.
Let's start with our current business update. Our hot topic nowadays is still the continuing drop in our ASEAN currencies. How bad is it and when will it stop?
Malaysia has passed 3.8. Our government says fundamentals strong. What your take on that, Andrew?
Sometimes I really don't know what fundamentally strong means.
Okay. It's very abstract. What sort of fundamentals are we talking about when we talk about fundamentals strong?
Maybe things like our GDP growth is part of fundamentals, is still growing.
It's still growing.
And then our debt to GDP ratio is not out of control.
It's not growing.
Yeah, that's good news.
That's a good news.
Mm-hmm.
So they say it's a temporary situation.
Right, yes. If you base this on the fundamentals that business is still okay, GDP is growing, and debt is not too high, then we would have to agree with Bank Negara or the central bank that our economy is okay.
Technically speaking, it's okay, but when we are on the streets, we felt that certain businesses actually slows down,
Mm-hmm.
and people are actually spending less. And even you look at those shopping centers that are on sales, you hardly see people at all.
So if you are a man on the street and somebody tells you that the economy is okay, the fundamentals are good, and your currency, you notice, is still dropping, that means there must be something wrong. Somebody must be doing something to our currency.
Okay, so what's your emotional takes on this situation?
Yeah, I feel quite emotional about the whole affair, but some of my friends are even more emotional.
Okay.
My friends who are having kids studying overseas,
those are the people that get caught.
they get very emotional and very angry because there's a hole in their pocket nowadays. Instead of paying, say, $3, ringgit to buy a US dollar, now you have to pay almost $4.
And for those who send their kids to Australia will be much better off.
Right.
Now they're paying lesser.
And if you have children who are working across the causeway in Singapore,
You
they
will be
feel very emotional also.
You will be rejoiced.
Yes, the kids come back and buy them Hokkien Mee every 1 or 2 weeks.
And the kids comes back, just give them 1,000 Sing, they will be so happy already. It's almost 3,000 over here, Malaysia ringgit.
You see, money is a very emotional topic.
That's why we always talk about money, and money.
Right, yes.
Right. And all other currencies also drop, except Singapore not so much against the US dollars. So, what's
because
actually
Singapore's
caused that kind of situation?
currency is more or less pegged to the USD, right?
Yes, and Singapore, as we all know, is a financial center.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the foreign funds, capital injections also park over there. So which means them that have a strong cash reserve. And they don't actually depends on a lot of factors, and politically they are quite stable in a sense. So in a way, the Singapore currency are not hurting so much.
So Eric, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the naughty boys are the currency traders.
In a way, yes, because you're looking at the forex market, the daily turnover is almost like 3.5 trillion.
Yeah. Talking about the daily turnover, which is 3.5 trillion, how many times bigger than the New York Stock Exchange is that?
I would say is almost like 10 times, 20 times.
And that is, you're only talking about the daily transactions.
Daily transactions.
What about the market itself, the market for foreign currency trading? Do you know how big is that?
I would say it's those counted and uncounted all add up together. I would say it's much greater than 3.5 trillion. Definitely, because some are actually goes underground, and some are surface.
Do you know, I read an article quite recently. There's a famous economist, I forgot his name. He put the figure at between 2 quadrillion to 8 quadrillion.
That sounds like something. That sounds like something out of the universe.
Yeah, the number, the word trillion, a lot of people are already mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling, already have problem how to figure out how many digits are there.
Yeah, there are 12 zeros in trillion, okay?
Yes.
And that is quite mind-boggling already.
And you are talking about quadrillions.
Quadrillion is simply, 1 quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. You add another 3 more zeros behind it.
You are looking at about 15 zeros.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
15 zeros with don't know how many numbers in front.
I thought you were talking about how many light years away.
And this is scary because we are actually talking about derivatives. Derivatives like orange juice is a derivative of orange.
Yes.
You squeeze something from it. So foreign currencies is a derivative of money. And it's scary.
Yes, and it's churning money off. No money.
The scary part is that you don't actually need to have money or hard currency in order to trade in money. So you are actually trading in something that's quite virtual, right?
Something virtual, no physical money involved.
And not only you can buy something that's virtual, you can even sell something that is virtual. Right. And if you keep doing that hard enough, you can actually crash a country's economy.
That's why a lot of people are coming up with this thing called virtual money, to trade on virtual money. They even trade on virtual stocks. They even trade on virtual properties. So everything is virtual. People are so caught up with something so virtually untrue, non-physical, and they're so caught up with it.
Eric, if you trade in something physical like commodities, coffee beans and pork belly and things like that, that actually also can cause quite a lot of damage. Trading and shorting stuff that are physical also can be quite harmful.
Because the supply might not be sufficient.
Right.
And people will just oversell.
If you can actually need to transport lorry loads of coffee beans and whatever beans not, if you short something that you don't have. But if you short something money, there's nothing to transport because it's virtual in the first place.
So I just create more money virtually for you to buy.
So can you imagine how dangerous that can be?
Yes, and then it's become the whole economy will be inflated with so-called valueless money.
I think, Eric, we have to coin some new words to discuss about this. How about financial terrorism? Or financial horror movie?
Well, we can make a movie out of it.
Yeah, in fact, earlier somebody says that these derivatives are the financial weapons of mass destruction.
It's true.
We have to agree, right?
We have seen countries have their money value have been inflated by so many times that it's actually worthless. And if I can remember the day I watched a documentary. It's about this country in South America. They actually have to use their money in a wheelbarrow.
Sounds familiar. We had that before during the Japanese occupation.
So then they buy a loaf of bread. They actually have to pull a wheelbarrow full of currencies.
Yeah, and it happened in Europe also during the Second World War, right?
And I think it's happened in Zimbabwe.
Definitely. Zimbabwe, trillions of dollars is only on one note.
On one note, they have a $1 billion bill.
Trillion, sorry.
Trillion bill. Okay, sorry. And in fact, if you look back on history, Zimbabwe was once a very robust economy. But what happens that make it to be in such situations? Okay, it can be the governance.
Right.
It can be their overtrades.
Fundamentals.
The fundamentals are not truly in place. They put it. Right, okay, my fundamentals are not in place. That's
not well managed economy.
They can't say not well managed. They said not in place. Okay. When they said not well managed, which means they are admitted to something. So when they're not in place.
So it gives the currency traders the opportunity to attack the currency.
Yes, and who can you name some of the big shots like currency traders?
Mr. Soros?
Yes,
how about?
I think the one that comes to mind is Mr. Soros.
Yes, our government and our Dr. Mahathir actually blamed him for our 1998 currency crisis.
Yes, and that time Malaysia was hurt bad,
Right.
And we pegged our dollar to 380.
Yes, we had capital controls.
We have capital control up
peg it
to
at
380, and slowly the economies recovered back. And at that moment, I remember that one situation, it even reaches $5, 5 ringgit to a dollar. And a lot of contractors have been caught.
Before the government stepped in to peg the ringgit.
And I can see quite a number of my contractors' friends actually went bust because of this situation.
Right. That was why Mahathir was very angry at that time, because these are actually currency attacks and trying to kill our country and our economy.
So they call this economic terrorism.
Right, yeah. Do you know how much hardship it can cause the people, Ron?
So I would say that the next world war will be fight with money instead of solid weapons, physical weapons.
I'm sure a lot of people have heard, if not read, about the book called Currency Wars.
Currency Wars, yes. It is quite a famous famous book among forex traders. It's probably like the so-called Holy Bible for the forex traders.
Yeah, so what you say is probably right. Economic wars and currency wars are actually going on everywhere. And countries that are weaker, for example, developing countries or ASEAN countries like us, are more vulnerable to the big boys who attack our currency.
Definitely, because those developing countries, firstly, their fundamentals are not in place.
Not strong enough, let's put it this way.
Okay, not strong enough. And then their so-called their trades also not strong enough. So a lot of factors will affect them to be vulnerable to these currency attacks. And I would believe that most of them will attack country with natural resources. Those countries.
During the 98, which is not very much different from what is happening right now, during the Asian financial crisis, Thailand was the first country to got hit. They call it what they call the Tom Yum effect, whereby it spread from Thailand to Indonesia, and then it went to South Korea, before finally hitting Malaysia in September 1998. So many currencies were under attack.
And I believe that if you look deeper, these few countries are rich in natural resources. Okay, so when their currencies has been attacked, I believe that the international commodities buyer can buy it at a lower price.
You depress the
currency, economy, then you force selling, then you get it at a better price.
Right.
So in this case, they can capitalize on both advantageous benefits to them.
So by right, for example, if the ringgit falls from say 250 to 380, our goods we can actually export and make more money from the USD. But that is not the case.
It's not the case.
Because the importers over the other side, they want to demand for lower prices for our goods.
For your goods. And because the country are hard pressed on cash flow, are forced to sell at a lower price.
Yeah, and they say that our operation costs have now been reduced. So we should not sell our stuff so expensive.
So you got to sell it lower.
But when we buy stuff, it's more expensive because our currency is already smaller.
So we got to pay more out of our currency to buy their stuff. So we lose both ways.
And you know what's the most scary part about currency trading, Eric? It is not regulated.
Definitely. It's difficult to regulate currency trading.
It's a Godzilla that's out of control, isn't it?
Yes, so I think the main control of this is technology. Okay, just any online trading platforms to control it. And most of the controls are done by the banks, the bigger banks, the central banks, that actually determine the demand and supply of certain currencies. And also the individual countries, the bank rates. These are the factors that are affecting the so-called the fluctuations of the currency.
Yeah, and when you talk about quadrillions of dollars, you are talking about probably Godzilla and Terminator combined.
Yes,
it's very difficult to fight.
The new hybrid dinosaur.
Mahathir tried to talk to Michael Camdessus, who was Prime Minister of France at that time when we were under attack, and appealed to him to talk to IMF to restrict currency trading. But currency trading is a worldwide phenomenon. Even the IMF is either not able or wouldn't want to control it.
it's
so far.
difficult for them to control. So because you look at it, what happens on the surface might be just the tip of the iceberg. What happens beneath is another big story.
Yeah, you mean there's something bigger than quadrillions?
Well, we don't know because you can see physical cash actually can move around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why a lot of countries, governments are actually controlling their outflow of their currencies and inflow of foreign currencies. But now with virtual world, you don't actually need any physical currency to move around. You can move around millions, billions just by online.
Right. That's why, folks, today we are living in a very different world compared to those days where most of us are agricultural economies.
Yes, and
there's not so much technology.
And I actually have a so-called forex trading friends 25 years ago. And how she trade forex is that every day she will move 3 million solid cash in and out
Hard
of the
currency.
hard currency.
Wow.
So can you imagine the stress of holding that much of cash?
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
And every day, the movement she can make about 30 to 50,000 every day.
Ringgit.
Ringgit. Okay, so but the risk is always there. You got to move the 3 million cash in and out of the bank.
You need security,
You need
armored cars to
So
protect you.
the stress level make her give up the trade. So it's too much of stress. Money is there, but sad to say, the financial intelligence are not there, and she lost all the money as well. Okay.
So for our friends in ASEAN, whether you're a trader or you're a businessman, entrepreneur, or just a man on the street, currency actually affects our lives, right? And
Yes.
with the world getting smaller and information traveling faster, what happens in Greece can travel very fast and very far, and people can get jittery, scared, panic,
Yes,
and then
and,
they can start selling their currencies and depreciating it even further.
And all these fluctuations can just happen within seconds.
Right, yeah.
Okay, in those days, we said, those things happen in Europe might only reach us in 3 days.
Right.
But now
And
it's not true.
Today, we still have a lot of friends on the street who says that what happens in Greece is not my concern. It will never affect or impact me. You know, don't even talk about it. Don't waste my time.
Yes.
You know?
And to a certain extent, it might impact fast or it might not impact at all. Depends on what business are you in and
Yes.
what role are you playing in the economy.
Right. If you don't have kids studying overseas, you might not need to worry so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you have kids studying in UK, now you got to count your blessing. Now it's 5 something.
Right. Even if you are not in business, the man on the street, you go and buy a bottle of perfume in a shopping complex,
It will cost more.
much more.
And a bottle of brandy will cost you more.
Talking of
Okay.
brandy. Okay, let's
Brandy.
go for our
Short break.
After this session.
Yes,
We'll go to the pub.
We go to the
for
pub
brandy.
for brandy. So we don't pay. We have to pay higher already now.
Okay. So right now,
we will take a short break now, and we'll be back with our main story for today. So stay tuned, guys. Don't go away.
yeah, stay around. Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, and our Durian main story today is Top 10 Money Scams in ASEAN Countries, Part 1. But before we bring you our main story, Eric is going to share with us his funny business moment for today. The title of his story is The Interview.
Well, Andrew, one small question. I think at our age we started to have our children going to the working market,
Yeah, looking for a job.
And they would need to attend interviews.
Right.
And nowadays you can see that certain young graduates are actually does not have the feel of the market.
Right.
And what's the value they can
They
command?
seriously don't know what is happening outside the house and the school.
Yes. So this particular situations is about this young engineer who fresh out of the universities, and he went for an interview. So by the end of the interview, he asked the HR officer, okay, what will be my starting salary? Okay, the HR officer asked this young man, what starting salary are you looking for?
That means how much you want.
How much you want? What sort of salary you want? Without any forgivers idea, the young engineers replied, in the region of say 125,000 a year, and also depending on your benefits package. Okay. So the interviewer stopped for a short while, then he said, well, what would you say to a package of 5 weeks vacations, 14 paid holidays, full medical and dental, company matching retirement funds of 50% of salary, and a company car every 2 years? Say, how about a Porsche for a start? Wow! The young engineer was so excited. Wow, are you kidding me? Then the interviewer replies, yeah, but you started it.
You started it.
Okay. So, young man, if you're out there, okay, just look at what you can contribute first before you can ask for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I believe that quite a lot of young people actually asking for things which they don't actually have a sense of feeling what sort of contribution they can
Not
give
realistic.
First. Not
Yeah.
realistic. They're
So
just
next time
based on
when
what they want.
Somebody offers you a Porsche. Okay, thank you, Eric, for that funny business moment. Welcome back to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host, Andrew Chia, and together with me right now is
Eric Chong.
And we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that involves ASEAN countries. The title of our Durian main show today is Top 10 Money Scams in ASEAN Countries, Part 1. You see, Eric, a lot of people have worked very hard and they could be in the process of planning their retirement and the final phase of their life when they can rest and enjoy the fruits of their labor.
And every time we have seen on the newspaper articles that people got conned with their hard-earned money.
Sad.
And sometimes you look at it, those schemes are actually repeating. And yet people are falling into it. So, sometimes it's really caught you by surprise. How can people be caught in this kind of scams?
Don't you ever read newspapers?
Yes. But after reading the newspaper, they still can get caught. That's the problem.
They tell themselves, it happened to that guy who is not so smart. It
will not happen to me. Anything also will not happen to me.
Yes.
Because I'm smarter than the average guy. Well, whether you are smart or not, you are professionals or not, you still can get caught with these scams because they are so good and well thought out for.
Therefore, if you are planning your retirement, in order to have the peace and happiness and to enjoy everything that you have secured so far, you need to ensure that you have the right information to protect your wealth, because money affects almost every aspect of your life before or after your retirement. Okay?
Yes, definitely.
Eric, let us now look at some statistics. We have statistics in Malaysia coming from the EPF that shows that 90% of retirees spend all their EPF money within 3 years of their withdrawal.
Well,
in Malaysia, we call it EPF. In Singapore, they call it
CPF,
or some kind of retirement fund where you
then
save
some other
your life
countries,
savings.
Some other countries will call it a social welfare.
Right. Okay. Yes. Whatever you call it is your life savings from your hard work. Okay. So EPF members over here spend their money on various items such as buying houses and investments, paying back loans, children's wedding, lending money to friends and buddies, medical expenses, and also bad habits such as gambling or going for an overseas vacation. I'm not saying going overseas.
Going overseas is not bad habit.
Not a bad habit, yeah. Only the gambling part.
Only the gambling part.
How about whiskey and brandy?
That one is very minimum.
You can't spend too much,
You can't spend too much.
You get drunk on $100.
Yes. And even $50 you can get drunk. You get those cheap brandy.
However, one disturbing fact is that some EPF members lose all their life savings on bad investments. Some of these so-called investments are scams, which they are not aware of. In other cases, members were just cheated by con artists. Now we shall spend some time examining some of the most common money scams found in ASEAN, which is also in Malaysia. Okay. Right. Before we start, we need to understand that scams can only work when they are coupled with the emotional factor.
Remember our last shows, we talked about the 8 elements.
Yes, emotion is one of the 8
Emotion
elements.
is one of the 8 elements. Right.
Humans are creatures of emotions, and when our emotions are not controlled, logic sometimes disappear. We make bad decisions involving money, which we live to regret later, even after retirement.
After retirement, we still live. Okay, that's why we still have emotions, right? The most common emotions that cause us to lose money is greed. However, there are many other emotions may cause us to lose money also. For example, our emotions of love and compassion, fear, panic, and anxiety, jealousy, suspicious, pride, etc. can all be used against us by professional con artists.
That sounds scary, Eric. You mean
Yes.
even our love and compassion can be manipulated
Definitely,
by con men?
Definitely. One of the most important ways to prevent ourselves from being cheated is simply to be informed of the strategies and methods of these con men. In most cases, once the potential victim is aware of such scams, he can easily avoid them. We shall now share some stories about the most common scam jobs in Malaysia.
Yes. I believe the world is so small. What happens in Malaysia also happens in Thailand.
Thailand, and in fact, around the world.
Yeah,
Nothing changes.
We have stories of con men in Malaysia who are arrested in Thailand. And con men from China
arrested in Thailand also.
while doing the scams in Malaysia.
While doing the scams in Malaysia. So that's why we earlier part we said the world is all connected.
Yes, ASEAN is a small place.
ASEAN is a small place. In fact, the world is a small place now. So the scams can have their mastermind in other countries, Western countries, and the operations in the ASEAN countries. It still works for them.
Great. Is Nigeria an ASEAN country, Asian country? Or
I believe it's an African country.
Sorry, Eric, my geography is not that good. It's not an American country, right?
Right. It's an African country.
Okay.
Right.
So now the first scam we are going to talk about, which is one of the most popular scams around the world.
And I believe that this type of scams is caused by greed in the first place, and the second thing is the curiosity.
Greed, curiosity, and I believe the main thing is
also ignorance.
Gullible.
Gullible and also ignorance.
Mm.
Right. So I believe a lot of us have received emails of this kind of situations. So how does the Nigerian black money works?
Some conman guy somehow comes and tells you that he has millions or even billions of dollars in USD from Africa, belong to a rich tycoon there. Okay, somehow this guy tycoon has so much
They
money.
always
in
have
Africa.
tycoons. Always have tycoons. No problem. There's no shortage of that.
They can't bring it out of Africa.
Sounds strange.
And due to some persecution, he needs to smuggle his wealth out of Africa. And to do so, he needs to coat all this money into black color to make it easy to smuggle out. Sounds like a great idea, isn't it?
Black
Make
money
it black color to
black
smuggle
money
out.
so
Easier, okay?
easier.
What happens after that?
Okay. So what happened then?
Now that is
Out of,
once it's out of the country, it can be converted back into real USD notes simply by using a kind of chemical to wash it white. All you need to do is to buy this chemical. It's quite expensive. The conman will do a demo to show you he has some of this chemical. He'll ask you to buy because it's expensive and he can't afford it. Wow, sounds like a very kind guy. You know?
Okay, I need your help. Please help me out. Right. But these are literally money laundering. You wash the money.
The problem is probably during the demo time, he'll wash a few real
US notes.
After that, it could be all fake notes.
Yes, and
then you have paid a bomb for the whatever chemical is used.
We have seen quite well-to-do people fall for this.
Yes.
And we have seen even professionals fell for this.
Yes, lawyers and even doctors, surprisingly.
So, I mean, you look at this kind of situations, can they be so naive or are they just curious?
Suddenly, I remember there's a saying that goes like this, Eric. There's a sucker born every minute into this world. Have you heard of this saying?
Yes. And in fact, you can actually keep track of this sucker. There's a world counter population on the map. You can actually see the world population
we have 7 billion suckers right now on the planet.
Okay, so that's one scam which is quite popular, and I believe that quite a lot of people got caught with this one.
So guys, next time some smart fella come around and tell you he has got some black money which you can actually wash it and it becomes USD for you, please be careful lah.
Okay, there's no such thing, okay. So the scam number 2, switch off your handphone.
Yeah, sounds like quite harmless.
Switching
off your handphone. How dangerous can that be?
And this is really a very high-tech and highly synchronized kind of scams.
Yes. Firstly, they will try to get your family members' handphone numbers. Through some smart way, they manage to get, say, for example, your father's handphone. Or they'll get your kids' handphone if they are studying in the school. And they'll give them a call. Okay, the call will go something like this. I'm calling from the phone company or the phone service provider. We are doing a maintenance on your account and your line. Okay. In order for us to do that, we need your cooperation to switch off your handphone for just a short time of, say, 1 hour.
1 hour or 2 hours to facilitate servicing.
Yes. It actually happens, to a lot of people, and lots of money have been lost through this scam.
Yes, and quite a number of our close friends also get caught.
Yes. So what happens next if they ask you to switch off your handphone?
So immediately after you switch off your handphone, he will call your loved ones, usually the parents, and inform them that you have been kidnapped.
Or you have committed some crime.
Or some offense.
Need some bailout.
They need to bank in money immediately to your release. That sounds very convincing with you crying loudly in the background.
Yes. They can even fake a cry or something. And it sounds like you, and your parents will get all jumpy because love and compassion. Panic and anxiety.
So the parents will just bank in the money, and there goes the money.
Yes.
And they are smart. They don't ask for big sum. They just ask for 10,000, 20,000, which they feel that a lot of people can actually bring it up on call.
And sometimes you cannot even call the police because they tell you that they are the police.
Yes, and in fact we read about it in the newspaper a few weeks back.
Yeah.
About this kind of situations. they claim themselves to be the police.
Yes, and the son is caught in Bukit Aman or some police station. And in order to bail him out, you must need to immediately
bank in 200,000.
Yes.
Yes.
They know exactly how much money you have in your account.
Yes. So they are very smart. They actually make a research on how much you can afford to pay.
Yes. In my case, they probably would ask for 200 ringgit.
So they can't even recover their so-called professional charges.
So for a rich man like Eric, probably they'll ask him, please bank in 200,000.
Sorry, I don't have a handphone.
Okay. Right. So these guys are very smart because they are really professional con men, not the amateur ones.
Yes. And they actually knows your movement and your family movement. So for those people who like to share their position on Facebook, okay, this is one of the their so-called paper trails.
Right. So how do you actually prevent yourself from being a victim, or tell your loved ones how to avoid being a victim of this scam?
It's quite difficult to avoid this kind of scams, and it's quite difficult to tell your family how to avoid it.
How about this, Eric? If the next time somebody calls you and tells you to switch off your handphone, just ignore.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Because you look at it, because these are pure ignorance or naive in the sense of technology. Okay, I've been in the telco business for a short while, and for the telecoms service provider to service your line or service anything.
Must you switch off your
They don't need you to switch off your handphone. They will switch it off for you.
Yes, exactly. They can actually switch off your handphone for you.
Yes, they can do it at the exchange.
Right.
So your phone don't need to be off, okay, in the first place. So bear that in mind. Technology is very advanced. No doubt you are holding your phone. You might not be the one that switches off. It's the telecom guy that switch off your handphone. Okay. These are the one factor, and the second factor is that certain patterns that you always move on, your family members will able to notice your patterns. Okay, so just keep your patterns, be aware by your family members. Then they will sense it if some of the patterns that went wrong. And I remember one case last week. One of my friends told me he received a call from someone claims to be his son, being kidnapped, and wanted to some money and shouting everywhere. Then the son pleading the father to bang in about 30,000 to the account. So the father just listened and then just shut it off.
Yes.
And my friend asked, "Hey, why are you so cool? You just shut it off." The guy talking Hokkien.
Wrong language.
Wrong language. My son don't know Hokkien.
This is an example of amateur conman. He didn't do enough homework.
Homework and patterns, as we call patterns. So
great, Eric. We have covered 2 scams for our friends now. Why not we take a short break and we'll come back with another few scams for everybody.
Yes. Stay tuned.
Great, guys. We'll be back. Welcome back, folks. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, and our Durian main story today is Top 10 Money Scams in ASEAN. Before the break, we discussed a few of the money scams that have been around in ASEAN countries, including Malaysia, for some years now. Besides these scams, we bring you more scams found in ASEAN countries shortly. But before that, let's take a short break to get a health tip from Eric Chong, our health and fitness expert. His beauty tip for today is aging well.
Well, it's just short tips, and we age the moment we born. And how to age well? Some research has been done by these universities. They give a few tips on how to age well and to stay healthy. So the main thing is, do you want to get sick at your age, as you age, right? Now that we are living longer, and it's very hardening for many of us that we can live longer. But the ideas of the extra years might not be, if you are not in a healthy situation, then it might not be a very good, healthy life.
Right.
Right? So if you want to live longer, you have to live healthy and age well. And a lot of people actually live through their olden age with heart diseases, cancer, diabetes, osteoarthritis, and a lot of problems.
Yeah, not a nice situation.
Not a nice situation to actually grow old. But then this professor from University of Melbourne actually give us a few tips on how to age well and be healthy. So making certain lifestyle choices can reduce your chance of needing residential care or going to hospitals. So for us to age well is more of a lifestyle. It can also help you feel safe and secure and ensure you are an active participant in life rather than an observer on the sidelines, to the extent you control your destiny. Here are some of the few tips by the professor. First thing is, keep physically active. This means aiming for at least a good half hour or 1 hour of moderate intensity physical activities every day. And second, don't smoke. If you are a smoker, you need to stop smoking, and the message is never too late to do it.
You mean, Eric, if you are getting old, don't smoke. How about if you are young, is it okay?
Preferably don't smoke at all.
Okay, whether you age or don't
age. Or don't age. Practically, you don't smoke. Okay. Then be socially active. This is really important for both your physical health and mental health. If you are socially isolated, the professor said, is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
He can even link that to smoking cigarettes.
To smoking cigarettes.
What a brilliant professor.
Okay. Right. Then eat well and limit the booze.
Oh, there goes
There
my
goes.
whiskey.
Well, limit the booze. He didn't say cut it off completely.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I'll
Eating well.
substitute with brandy.
Yes. Eating well has a significant role to play in warding off chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and even some cancers.
Mm-hmm.
So you eat well, stay off the booze a little bit.
I can live with that.
Yeah. So
Eating well is quite a hobby.
quite a hobby. So I mean, as we age, we grow older, we definitely have to look into all this lifestyle. Keep your brain active. We know from lots of research that people who do more stimulating activities throughout their life have better brain function and a lower
Does
chance
that
of.
include Candy Crush?
Also can.
Or how
But-
about Mahjong?
Mahjong will be much better. Candy Crush is too addictive and it will turn you to be socially inactive.
That's a side effect.
That's the side effect, is socially inactive. Then always have an optimistic outlook of life. You just look at yourself. Are you a negative person or are you a positive person? Do you look at things half full or do you look at things as half empty?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the few factors that actually affect us as we grow older and how to live well. And also looking at it, all these factors are actually lifestyle choices.
Great.
Okay, so let's carry on with our second part of the stories of.
Yeah. Guys, you are listening to ASEAN Biz, and our Durian main story today is Top 10 Money Scams in ASEAN Countries, Part 1. We have talked about 2 scams earlier. Right now, scam number 3. Eric, what is scam number 3?
Well, this one is a very.
Does it apply
attractive.
to both men and women?
I would say in a way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's always this thing called pretty China dolls.
Uh-huh.
Everybody heard of it, hoo-ha.
Wow.
So there's always these pretty GROs from China or Vietnam will sweet talk men into believing they are really in love with them.
Mm-hmm.
So their
And-
target is mainly middle-aged people. Okay, those are going through midlife crisis.
Uh-huh.
These are the target audience. Right.
Whether educated or
Or not educated, it doesn't matter.
Professionals or laymen.
It doesn't matter as long as the money is there.
Uh-huh.
Right.
How about people who are already just on the way to getting their EPF withdrawal?
That will be the best candidate.
The best targeted victims, right?
Yes. Once the man becomes soft-hearted, believing this woman truly loves them with all their hearts, they will do whatever they ask and give them whatever they ask. Usually a lot of money.
Or rather, all their money.
Yes, you see, like middle-aged people. Okay, we are at that age group, right? So a lot of men lacking romances, lacking some purpose in life, and so happens that the EPF is due.
How about nagging wife at home? Does that contribute?
It's one of the contributing factors, right? So people will always look outside. When they look outside, things happens. And they become target. So some will just say, I'm happily losing my money to this woman
Wow.
because she can give me the lost years that I have lost
With his wife.
with his wife, and I
Wow,
can gain
sad.
back everything within this 1-2 years. So I lost all my money, fine.
I found back a fountain of youth
Yes,
with this girl.
with this girl. So some will argue on that, and quite a number of them actually live through these experiences happily. But when you look at the bottom line is, all their hard-earned money are gone.
Yeah, and they finally reach back to this
Then
earth.
they come back to the planet Earth. Okay.
The reality.
The reality is
With empty
there.
pockets.
Pocket are empty, family broken,
Girl gone.
girl gone, home gone, everything gone. Then they are left with homeless.
That is not the worst, Eric. I know of some people who even borrow from Along to give to their beautiful girlfriends. So
It's
after
true.
everything gone,
Gone.
the Along is still coming after them with a knife or axe or some sharp object.
And family have to fend for him already. Okay.
Sad, isn't it?
So guys, just be careful, and if you want to be happy, just spend a little bit lor. Don't spend all. So you make yourself partially happy, then you start singing the song Halfway to Paradise.
Don't give all your money to women. Just go for a little bit of booze.
Eat well and little bit of booze.
Yeah, and smoke another extra 3 packs of cigarettes. It's fine.
It's fine.
The best advice is give all your money to your wife and your kids.
Yes.
The woman who loves you and stayed with you all your life, no matter how naggy she might be, she's still the one who loves you the most.
Then every day you start begging $50 for your expenses.
Hey, Eric. That's not the way to live the last years of your life.
Okay, then we move on to our scam number 4.
Very popular scam, especially in Malaysia.
It's called Scratch and Win.
Nobody has not heard of Scratch and Win before, isn't it?
Yes,
all of us
have heard of it. Some of us might have been through it.
Okay. Yes. Or most of us have been approached
and even went through the first step.
Usually, who will approach us?
Usually will be this young man, young lady that hang around bus stands, that hang around shopping complexes, and some even very smart. They will put up a small table, made as those is like marketing promotions
or some contest
to make you go into it. So normally is that they will invite you to try your luck in a Scratch and Win contest. Okay, whatever you scratch, they will jump for joy and announce that you are the lucky winner of a big prize. Wow! So the big prize sometimes can be a car,
right?
Okay, and most of them they will use car to attract you because people will get caught. Wow! I want a car.
Yeah, and most people being greedy with saliva dripping. So when somebody tells
some can be very convincing. They have newspaper cuttings about people actually won the cars. They show you photograph of people winning the cars, and you will get caught. And it doesn't cross your mind that all these photos can be photoshopped.
Yes, and they are so well trained. They are actually jumping for joy with real emotions to make you believe that you actually won the prize.
Yes, you will win an even bigger prize if you follow them back to their office or showroom. This showroom is equally quite impressive, and victims are usually not aware that it's a trap.
Wow, sounds so dangerous, right?
You will keep winning lots of prizes and lots of money, but you need to pay them some kind of service charge, very expensive, before you can claim your prizes. Okay, like this Scratch and Win things, as you go into their offices, they will say that you will have won so much.
Electrical goods.
Okay, this now is worth about 3,500 or 5,000. Okay, so if you want to go further some more, you got to buy up this 5,000 of goods. You pay the 5,000. Okay, then you can go in one step further to win the car.
Right. So you buy lo?
You buy the 5,000 worth of electrical goods. Some probably is worthless. It's still worth some money.
Yeah.
The electrical goods, you still can take it home.
But the valuable thing is that you are buying a chance to win something big.
Yes, you feel that, okay, I already bought these electrical goods, I might want it, but I got a second chance to win a big car.
If I don't buy, I will be giving up that chance to win a big car.
Okay. So it's all placed on the psychology and curiosity. Sometimes it's curiosity. Right. So then we move on to the next one, the scam number 5.
Our last scam for today.
Yes, right. It's called the ultimate vacation deal.
Yeah, sometimes it's not a scam. It could be a real deal. But most of the time, this is a scam.
Right. The telemarketing guy will call you for a few free dinner, provided you must spend at least half an hour for them to give you a presentation.
Yeah, sounds like quite a fair deal. I sit down and listen to some stuff.
Yes.
No obligations.
No obligations. They will still give you a free meal.
Yeah, dinner.
Free dinner. Sometimes they give you a free hotels.
Yeah, free dinner means probably a steak, a medium rare.
Yes.
With
frankly speaking, I've been to quite a number of these. And sometimes the dinner are quite good.
Yeah, but Eric, I went to one where they actually gave me only a piece of cake. Can you imagine?
Wow. And I had one in Ritz-Carlton. They really spend money.
Yes.
Right? Then even throw you a buffet. You can bring your family for the buffet.
That's
right?
not too bad.
Yes. So the presentations will be very impressive and held at a posh hotel, which I've been through the Ritz-Carlton. Okay. You will feel like going for the ultimate vacation of your life just by paying a fraction of the normal market price. The reason is that it's some kind of time-sharing scheme where other vacationers like you also pay for the deals. After paying a bomb, the victims then realize that the hotels either don't exist or they are substandard.
Wow, this is really con job.
It's really con job. And beside that, you always cannot have a booking.
Every time is
it's full.
You got to wait.
And every time you book, you say it's a peak period.
Yeah, do you know, Eric, I actually asked them the ultimate question finally. When is this particular location available? You tell me July is booked, August is booked, middle of September is booked. Okay, you just tell me when it is not booked. Can you just do that?
They can't tell you.
Exactly. So that proves that it's really a con job.
It's really a con job. So money have been paid, and sometimes it's not small sum.
And it's definitely not refundable.
It's definitely not refundable.
Signed all the documents with the small print.
Every year you have to pay maintenance as well.
Right, yeah. Serious con job.
Sometimes it's con job in the sense that the facilities provided are substandard. And you can't actually book it.
Yeah, a lot of complaints. After that, people will go to the consumers associations to lodge their formal complaints, and then there's nothing much that the government can do because they have disclaimers and all that fine print, isn't it?
Yes.
So guys, make sure you don't fall into this kind of scams. If you really want to sign on the dotted line, make sure you can confirm everything is genuine.
Sometimes it's quite hard to confirm everything is genuine.
If you can't confirm, then it's better not to sign on the dotted line. Because once you have paid your money and you call them, they say that it's not available 365 days. So what can you do?
You can't do anything. Okay.
Great. All right, folks. That's all the time we have for now. Thank you and hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back for more business updates on ASEAN BIZ.
Yes, and Andrew, you still owe us 5 scams. Just now you mentioned that you have 10 scams.
Right.
So I think the balance 5, you have to catch us on our next show.
Exactly. Yes.
And stay tuned and bye.
Bye.